a positive message. All right, let's start. Um, so today we're going to talk about lead calling, and this lead calling, especially for today's market. This is based on yes, normal information about lead calling and my information about what I'm seeing, who I'm going through, who I'm talking to, what they're saying, the issues that we're having, and obviously feedback from a bunch of agents that are still prospecting and calling leads. I'm gonna start with a couple basic things. Um, Guys, some of you might be calling leads all the time. Some of you guys, maybe you're not. So let's take a couple things into consideration. If you're gonna start calling leads, start calling leads. Sorry about that. Start calling leads on small amounts. So let's talk about maybe doing 10, and then multiply that to 15, 20. Don't try to bite such a big piece off. I know it's scary sometimes to think about calling a lead, but let's go with the basics of calling leads. It's just to get started. Even if you are the best person at calling leads, you can still get a little bit nervous. And the truth is, everything goes away as long as you pick up the phone. Pick up the phone and start calling. So now, before I get into start, I want to touch two things. Right now, if you're not a person that knows how to call leads, or you're not comfortable with calling leads, understand that this is the only way to make business right now. You're not allowed to be able to go out and network, socialize, or just happen to be at the right place at the right time. Before this, I used to go to Little Ventanita in Doral, and I was just there at the right time at the right place. I saw an old client. I saw a friend. They both stopped to say hi to me, and then another person walked to say hi to one of them, and they introduced me, and I got a client just by being at the right place. That's not going to happen in this market because I'm not leaving my house. So the only way to make business is two different ways. Number one, social media marketing. You got to be on top in front of everybody. You got to remind everybody you're still here, you're still working, relaying a positive message about the industry. I know a lot of people are just posting whatever they want to post. They're literally posting whatever comes up on social media. Don't repost anything that's negative about the market. Try to stick to what's positive so we could lead people into getting back into the business faster. Now, going to what we spoke about today is actual lead calling. Now, um, there's a lot of people home, they're bored. Let's go with the image and the mentality that they're actually looking for an outlet. Some people might actually spend more time talking to you because they'd rather talk to you than the people they've been like seeing face to face the whole week. Um, Now, a, a bonus that I have right now, and people don't think about it this way, is that when I used to speak to people like all over the state of Florida, I was concerned with what was their commonality. Like when I speak to somebody, I was looking for something that we have in common. Yeah, I live in Miami. You live in Miami too. Look at the weather, whatever. Like mentally, I wait for something. Right now, we all have one thing in common. No matter where you're calling, we're all dealing with the coronavirus. So the fact that you have that in common gets you an in. So just have that in your mind that when you're calling, you're going to be concerned with that. And you might even be throwing a question in the process about, how are you dealing with the coronavirus? How are you dealing with being stuck at home? If you hear a mother, relate to those things. Use those things to relate to the person, because even though we don't get them now, they might not be able to buy now. But the fact that you establish a connection with them now, when things get back to normal, that's going to be your client. Consider this like an investment account. You're investing time by making phone calls into these people that's going to pay you off later in 3, 4, 5, 6 months. So it's a big investment account that every call is basically you depositing money into this investment account. That's the way to look at it. And then when you make a call, the most important thing is not to make a sale, but it's to make a connection. You got to connect with these people where they feel that, number one, you're professional. Number two, you know what they're going through. And number three, that you're actually going to give them something. Every time they speak with you, you're going to send them, you're going to get their information. You're going to send them listings or valuable information about the market, things that you make them feel like you know what you're doing. All right. Now, let's start an actual phone call. Let's start going through.
Um,
Hello. Give me a second. Somebody was. All right. So let's start going through an actual phone call. Uh, First, understand you have to be polite and confident and to the point. I emphasize the confident part because a lot of people think they know what's going on with the business. They see the news, they see everything like 2 weeks behind, like everything that that they're seeing now. They think, oh, rates are super low. That's like 3 weeks old. They think that, oh, this crashed. They don't even know what's going on. They don't know what you know. You guys are the professionals. You guys are the ones in the front line seeing what's going on. And I'm gonna tell you the truth. 30% of you might be agree with me, and the other 70 might not agree with me, and it just has to do with the attitude as to what you're looking for. So I know that I could tell you, look, we're closing deals. Last week we closed 5 deals. This week we closed another 2 deals. Deals are still closing. When some people are not closing any deals because they're being negative, some people are still looking and pushing. Deals are still closing. Loans are still happening. Listings are still being signed, and offers are still being submitted. Honestly, I think the biggest perk for me is that I'm being positive. And when a client speaks to a lender that's being negative, they decide to leave him to go to somebody that's being positive. So I'm ended up with new clients just because I have a positive attitude. All right. So be confident about who you're speaking to the client. Whatever you're saying, just you know what you're talking about more than they do. You are the professional. All right. All right. Tip number 1. We're going to go through just some basics. I know some of you have been calling leads for a while, and some of you might not. So we're going to go through the basics. Do not be so polite in the upfront. I know people kind of like get scared. Hey, may I please speak with so-and-so? Is so-and-so in? Do not say that. Go straight in and say, hey, Maria, how are you doing? Or say, hey, can I speak? Or just pretend like you know the person. Hey, Maria, how are you doing? Or just say, hi, Maria. And they wait for them to respond. This is key. The reason is because most of the telemarketing for any business, pick up the phone the same way, being super respectful. Can I please speak with Mr. Ledesma? Can I please speak with, and that's what, like, I don't even waste time waiting for them to speak. I'd rather somebody say, hey, William, and they say William, or say, hey, Will, or they speak to me in Spanish that way, I actually stay a few more minutes. So I'm like, oh, who's this? And that's what I'm looking for somebody to actually ask me, who's this? So tip number 1, when you go into a phone call, already assume like you know the person, like they know you. So say, I see Pierina, say, hey, Pierina, and go through the conversation. After you say, hey, Pierina, wait for a minute, let them speak, let them ask their question. Don't be afraid that they're going to hang up. Understand that most of the people that call, I did collections for a long time, and I had a call model, I had a script and all these things. And the biggest mistake that we saw when we were training people is that they tried to get through the whole script. So they spoke really fast. I don't know if you guys see that I speak super fast. Tried to get through the script. I went faster because I was nervous and people couldn't understand what I was doing and they didn't trust me. So let people speak. Even if they're going to get off the phone, that's fine. Let them get off the phone. Say, hey, Pierina, and let them speak. They're going to say, hey, who's this? What, do I know you or whatever? Go into the next part. You're going to go straight into, yes, my name is William Ledesma. I'm calling from so-and-so. I was calling because I saw you were looking at properties online. Go straight into the point and be polite. Now, if they go and they ask you another question or they don't answer your question, say what you're calling about. Say, look, I'm calling from so-and-so, and then go back into how are you doing? The how are you doing question that I put, to me, is probably the most important part, because I've had people surprised that I put importance on that and they'll stay on the phone with me, that I'm not just trying to rush to the sale. I was straight to the point, but I still wanted to see how they were doing. Now, I know that there's 2 sides to this, and I'm going to explain to you why the 2 sides come from. I was listening to different people that were coaches on cold calling, and I was like, man, people don't understand where they're both coming from. There's 2 different types of cold calling, and I've done both of them. One of them is when you have a lot of leads. If you have a lot of leads, it's completely a numbers game. You can literally just get on the phone, say, hey, I'm calling because you saw a property online. Hang up, go to the next one. I'm calling because you saw a property online. It's a numbers game. When I used to do 300 calls a day, every single day minimum, for business to business loans. And literally that's what we did. I called more than anybody else, which is why I was the number 1 in that business. You know, in this business, we kind of try to value our clients a little bit more. So yes, it's still a numbers game, but you want to still emphasize on the fact that you're polite and respectful and that you're confident enough to be patient. So number 1, act like, assume that they know who you are, even though they don't, when you're asking for them. Number 2, ask how they're doing. Get into that aspect of things. If they don't answer their question, say why you're calling, and go back into ask how they're doing. It's important to control the conversation. And I emphasize now the word control. A lot of people lose lose control of conversation very fast because the person they're speaking with are very adamant about the information that they know. I've gained control of the conversation by asking how somebody's doing, waiting for them to speak. And then I'm like, I apologize. I just, I know things are hard right now with the whole coronavirus. I just wanted to know how you were dealing with it. I'll go back to the same question. And that's how I've gained control of a conversation without having to be rude or without interrupting them. I can use the leverage of what I found, the fact that we have something in common. We're all going through this. So use it to your advantage. How are you dealing with this whole coronavirus? How are you dealing being stuck at home? Everybody's been different. I can tell you from my experience, I had people that they sounded like they spoke kind of like the same language as me, like, and we made fun. I was like, man, it's really hard to find toilet paper. And he laughed, and I found those commonalities because we're all going through the same things that they help me build a relationship with the person and speak with them longer. Okay. I already did that. Now, I know I broke down a lot of time trying to do number 1 and number 2, which is, hey, Pierina, how you doing? She was looking up. And then saying, hey, my name is William. I'm calling from, I don't know, something realty. I saw you looking properties online. What I do next is that I go straight into my three questions, which all of you guys are used to asking the next questions. And I'm telling you this because I do this. I'm a lender, guys, first of all. But when I call leads, I don't call them as a lender. I call them to ask as many questions as a realtor as I possibly can before I say I'm a lender. So typically, I'm going to ask him, hey, how many bedrooms are you looking for? And people tend to ask those questions because they're like training themselves to look for 3 beds, 2 baths, or whatever when they're looking online. So when I go into these questions, they feel like they're going to get the results psychologically that they're looking for, like the list. And what also, sorry guys, keep in mind that most of the people are looking for the actual listings, active listings. So what you're trying to give them the information and the motivation to stay with you on the line is that you're going to give them an actual list of real properties for sale that they can go look at or see virtual tours on for whatever reason. So ask them how many bedrooms, how many baths. I've had people interrupt me after I ask this, and they're like, no, but I was already looking online. I'm like, look, there's a lot of properties that are no longer listed. There are properties that are already sold, but there's a lot of properties that I have on the MLS that I can give you access to that are real sales, real listings that you have access to. So how many bedrooms are you looking for? And I go back to that question. How many bedrooms are you looking for? And they normally answer 3 beds. How many bathrooms? 2. Okay, perfect. Excellent. Do you know what neighborhood you're looking in? Typical questions that I know you guys are used to asking them. I'm just doing the reformatting of today's market. How are you going to speak to somebody is get their attention by assuming they know you, being polite enough to ask how they're doing. So connecting at that part and then going into your questions. How many bedrooms, how many bathrooms, so on and so forth. Now, real quickly, you're going to wrap it up. So once they're open like that, you're not going to try to stay on the phone for 2 hours. You're basically going to go straight into, okay, this is what I'm going to do. This is the next step. I'm going to send you a list of all the properties in the area you asked me for. What I want you to do is to help me narrow it down so I can help you find a better deal is pick the ones that you like. With that, I'll start knowing which ones you like better, what you're looking for. And if I see something that is better for you, I'll keep sending them to you. Now, the reason I want you to wrap it up, because most people stay on the phone and think they have to stay on the phone for longer, is because when you give somebody a sense of urgency, you're making, without telling them rudely, without being like, hey, I got to get off the phone in 5 minutes because I have another client or whatever, you give them the sense that you're a professional and you have other things to do. And that's going to attract them to you. So I want you to get through the questions, tell them this is what we're going to do next. I'm going to send you a list of this. And I just want you to, press on the little heart, show me which ones you like, and I'll get back to you with more listings of properties that might be better for you. And then they're like, oh, okay, cool. And then right there's when you would ask them typical questions of have they been approved or so on and so forth. I don't want you to get into any of that until after you got all the information that you need as a realtor. So get everything you need as a realtor out first, and then you ask them the question about have you been pre-approved. Now, I want to give real examples because I've gone through this and I know every conversation isn't perfect. I know people tend to get on the phone and interrupt you and deviate. And I know I already have a realtor. Okay, well, sir, I'm glad to hear you have a realtor. I'm hoping everything's going well with them. Do you have a lender? Because I have a great lender. Now, I know this sounds like a pitch for me. Like, yeah, I want you to send me the business. But the truth is that what I keep seeing, especially right now in this market, is that other realtors and other lenders are messing up. So I'm calling leads as well as my realtor calling the same leads for a reason. We're both calling them because when the realtor didn't get it and I got it, I brought it back to the realtor and vice versa. So it's happening that I called somebody and they told me, hey, I already have a lender. And I put my notes on my follow-up boss and I put the realtor to call him back. The realtor called him back almost a week and a half later. The client called me back, say, hey, this realtor told me to call you and blah, blah, that you could help me out because of the situation. They brought the lead back to me. And I've done that plenty of times back to them just because when I saw that they rejected me, I said, okay, I understand that you already have somebody. I'm hoping everything's going fantastic with them. But if you need an excellent lender, I could vouch for this person. And that gives you a second opportunity for me to bring the client back to you or whoever your lender is to bring it back to you. But it has to do with the habit of going into that. Remember that my favorite saying is that if you don't ask, you don't get. If somebody's trying to get off the phone quickly and get you and get off the phone, let him get off the phone. Just try to ask something before he gets off. How do you have a lender? I have a great lender for you. Just tell them you're sending that information and that's it. Simple. Now, another thing that I want to touch base on is super, super, super important. Guys, most of you are like me. Most of you, when there's a client that says something that's really wrong, like you feel the need to correct them sometimes, it makes you stay on the phone longer. Don't do that. This is still a numbers game. You still got to get through as many of these leads as possible. So I'm going to recap a little bit. I know I'm talking a lot, but I'm going to recap a little bit. I'm going to highlight a couple of things I want you guys to write down. But I just want you guys to tell you guys it's a numbers game. The more phone calls you make, the more money you're gonna actually get. The way it works is like this. You speak to somebody, you get through your initial intro, right? You already know what they're looking for, how many bedrooms, how many bathrooms, what area. Your job is almost done, all right? From there, your goal is basically, honestly, to get them off the phone. Is to get them off the phone so you can send them the information and try to follow up with them again. Now, if somebody's not being too positive and they're just kind of asking questions, they're talking about how bad the market is and all these things, I want you guys to just rebuttal one time. So counteract their negativity or whatever comment they said just one time. Do not try to do it 3, 4, 5 times. Do not stay on the phone with them for an hour. I've done this myself, and that hour will cost me thousands and thousands of dollars. So rebuttal one time, and from there, sorry, somebody's writing something. From there, keep moving on.
That was me, don't worry.
All right. So understand, rebuttal once. Don't try to spend 3, 4, 5 arguments. Say something positive one time and then close it up. Say, thank you for your time, sir. Look, if anything, I'll follow up with you later and we'll see how everything is going. Key point that I've actually done with this, that when I urge you guys, if you don't guys have a CRM, use a CRM. I've done this where somebody was being super negative, but they stayed on the phone talking to me. I cut him kind of short. I told him, look, this is how the market is going. These are the facts. He kept talking. I said, okay, perfect, sir. Look, this is what I'm going to do. I'm just going to follow up with you in a week or so and see how everything's going. And that's it. I moved on. Then I followed up with him, not a week. I called him like a month later just because I remembered again. And then the guy spoke to me again. The guy spoke to me 3 times. He didn't actually become a client, but he recommended me a friend. He was like, look, I don't agree with the market, but my friend is actually looking for a lender. So I got a deal out of it. So understand that there's a couple different stages as to what's important, what works when it comes to leads. Yeah, the best lead is somebody that is looking and ready to buy now. We want everybody to be like that. There's somebody who's actually willing to listen to you, but they don't qualify. There's somebody that qualifies but is being super negative. Okay. And then there's the people that they don't want to buy, but they also don't qualify. But these are the people that you gotta speak to, right? Now, out of the first 5, 4 of them are actually gonna generate you business, whether they do it directly or indirectly. Understand that. Put yourself in the position of that client. I'd rather deal with somebody I know is working hard. I'd rather give the business to somebody that's professional and is out here hustling. I can't tell you how many times that people have told me, look, man, I'm really not interested, but man, I appreciate your work ethic. I've gotten props from so many people that they've recommended me other people just because they see how I follow up, because they see how I call, because they see how I'm positive about everything. I didn't get to convince them it was the right time to buy, and I'm not saying I'm going to convince everybody, but they liked what I did. And the fact that I didn't spend an hour with them on the phone the first time and actually opened the window for me to try to follow up when I had time a month later or whatever, actually generated an idea of consistency with them where it actually allowed them to refer me more people. All right. I'm giving you facts about my experience, what I've actually gone through. All right. Now, the next thing, I want you guys to write these down, because these are like the questions or the comments. These are questions or comments that I keep seeing that people are saying, or that other realtors are telling me their people are telling them. So one thing is, people are asking, is it the time to buy? They're like, do you really think it's a time to buy right now? Like, I'm not thinking about this right now. You know, number one, and I'm giving you this information not for you to write it, not for you to say it word for word, but put it in your mind that you're comfortable saying it, because it's the truth. It is the time to buy. Why is it the time to buy? Because banks are lending. Understand that the market will crash only if we stop lending. In 2008, I remember this clearly because I was living it. I remember it was Thursday. I had 17 loans in the pipeline to close. 17 loans. Every Monday, the guideline got tighter and tighter and tighter and tighter. I ended up with 3 loans. The banks decided to stop lending. Everything fell down the ground. So people saying that, is it the time to buy? Yes, because I'm able to lend you money. Sorry, give me a second. And the rates are still low. People are thinking 3s and 2s, and no, the normal rate is 8.5%. When you know this information, you're confident about it, people believe you. And I'm telling you because it's the truth, but I want you guys to be confident about it. When I started doing loans, the rates were 8.5%, and people were taking them like left and right. I still know people now that had 6 and 7%. I know because I'm refinancing them out of it now. So when is the time to buy? The time to buy is now. Second thing, I'm waiting for the market to drop, for the values to drop. Understand that unless you're looking for a jumbo property, or unless you're looking for a condo, those two markets are weaker right now. But the single family starter home package, the homes, the 3.2s and above, those homes are steady. Those prices are strong. Typically, the person that's telling you that they're waiting for the market to drop, that's what they're looking for. The person that's telling you they're waiting for the market to drop is not the one looking for a jumbo $1 million property. They're just not. They're gonna just put an offer, as ridiculous as it sounds. If it's $1 million, they're gonna put an offer for 700,000. You know, I've seen that happen recently. So that's what it is. But most of the people that are actually telling you this excuse, I'm waiting for the market to drop, they don't understand how the market works. So for you to explain to them and tell them, hey, this is what happens. Right now, you get a good deal. Right now, I can negotiate you seller contributions or a better price, because people are scared. And since people are scared, sellers are more willing to negotiate with me. Since there's less people right now in the market, you don't have to compete with that many people to put in that offer. Right now is the best time for you to buy. Now, when you go and compare that to, let's say May 1st, everything works out the way they're saying. Let's say May 1st, they say, hey, we go back to the market. That means that by June, July, people are going to start buying again. Now this person wants to buy now, that could have bought a house right now, can't buy a house anymore because now he's competing with the rest of the market. Explain to them the benefit of being in the business right now. Explain to them the benefit of going into a contract right now, which you can negotiate with them. Okay. People are talking and they keep saying this. They're like, look, it's going to be just like 2008. Guys, I don't know how many people think they were here in 2008, but I was in the business in 2008. I was a mortgage broker in 2008. I lost my butt off in 2008. And I can tell you it's completely not the same thing. I can tell you that it's not the same thing because I was the one lending the money. And if you had a heartbeat and a decent credit, you didn't have to have a job, and I could lend you a house for 100% financing. You had no money invested in it. My father was a janitor, and I keep saying this. He's still a janitor. He owned $2 million worth of properties that he bought with just sign and drive. Like literally just sign the information and that's it. So with that said, I'm sorry, I heard something in the background. With that said, what's going on? We're looking at the actual market compared now to 2008. It's not the same market. Right now, every buyer that I've done for the last 5-6 years, I care about their job more than their credit. I care about them putting a deposit, a down payment. They're invested in their properties. If you yourself, you own a home right now, and you tell me the market drops, you tell me your house drops 10, 20%, and you're paying $2,000, are you going to leave your house paying $2,000 to pay somewhere else rent for $2,000? You're not going to do that. As long as you have a job or you have a way to pay it or way to resolve it, you're going to stay in your house. So it's not the same thing. It cannot be the same thing as 2008. Will values drop? Yes. Will they recuperate? Yes, they're going to recuperate a lot faster than they ever did. There's studies in 2008, which actually breaks down the amount of people that were available to buy was very small, and the amount of developers was very big. There's a lot of new development back then. Now it's backwards. Now we have a lot of people needing to buy. Our amount of people, the people between 35 and 45 in this generation is huge, and there's just not enough properties available. Even now, there isn't enough properties available. So understand that when people understand and realize that you know exactly what's going on, that you know exactly how things are working out, that you could tell them confidently, it's not the same thing as 2008, and it cannot happen because the way people were approved before was with no jobs. Now everybody is approved with a job, and I understand. I'm telling you this because it happened to me. They're like, well, what about now? Everybody's getting fired. And I'm like, oh, okay, let's talk about that. Let's talk about the people that got furloughed. Let's talk about the people that lost their job. They're able to modify their mortgage and do forbearance and do whatever, but they're doing whatever they can to keep their house because they would rather keep their house because they know they're going to get a job again. This is not the same situation. Back then, you let a property go, and I'm telling you because I had to live, because I really couldn't pay $2 million worth of properties. You know, I didn't make the money. That was just a fake market. It was based on equity, not on actual jobs. This market is based on jobs. So be confident in the fact that the same thing that happened in 2008 will not happen again. All right. What else? Before I move out of this topic, does anybody want to say any negative things anybody's told them on the phone, so I could maybe refresh on that? And what are you hearing from people? What are they saying negative?
Como yo le dije a Giselle, yo en este momento, yo estoy haciendo un montón de llamados, pero yo no estoy tratando de venderle nada a nadie, porque yo no creo que en este momento la gente...
Sorry, that was somebody else calling right now, Leeds.
That was fun. Gabriela unmuted herself.
I'll mute her.
Oh.
I don't think she did it on purpose.
Anybody want to talk? What has been your experiences out there? Who's calling still very consistently every day these past 3 weeks?
Willie, I want to say something. I've been calling daily, and I saw that during the weekends is the worst time to call.
Yes.
This weekend I have the same issue with another girl. She started to scream at me. She told me that she cannot believe that during this crisis I called her regarding a house. So
yeah,
I let her to speak, but I said, you know what? I think that probably it's better to call them Monday to Friday instead of Saturday and Sunday because the people, they're not in the mood to get in that kind of calls.
Yeah,
wait,
so that's what...
Before you get into that, right? Hold on. I want to say something. Has somebody... I'm not in sales. You guys know I'm not licensed. I'm not a realtor, right? And Monday through Friday, I am dreading the fact that I'm at home and not in office, right? Like I hate it. I dread it. I'm with my kids all day. Like I would pay money to send my kids off somewhere at this point. I don't want to be their teacher. I've been drinking more than ever, right? So come Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, right? I'm like, it's the weekend. Even though I can't go anywhere, my kids are no longer in school. I deal with them less. You know what I mean? Like, so if I was to get a phone call during the weekend, I'd be like, please fuck off. Like I've been drinking for 2 weeks straight. Like, I don't want to deal with this right now. I just want to get into an office, right? Go ahead, Willie, all yours.
All right, so look, that's what I'm telling you. People are not knowing even what they're talking about. The market is changing day to day. The people we're dealing with people's emotions. People are getting frustrated. They're stuck at home. They're fighting. They're arguing with each other. Like they're annoying each other. So every day is changing. Like the wave is so crazy right now. So yes, before I would tell you, I used to love calling. I used to do at least 1 hour of calling every Sunday, which people shouldn't call on Sundays. But I had so much good response. I would literally just spend 1 hour and I didn't call 100 people. On Sundays, I would call 10 people because I actually got to speak to 10 people. This wasn't my business before this started. Now I found that, this weekend, I'm telling you myself, I don't even want to talk to people because like finally I got a break to do something fun with my family. And I'm like, dude, I'm like literally drinking, doing karaoke. I don't want to pick up a phone, you know? So, but obviously I understand the nature of the business. I understand I got to survive. So I do it. People call me and they're like, look, man, it's time to grind. And I'm like, I agree with you. Who do you want me to call? But most people are not feeling the same need to get back to it. So yes, the weekends are changing. They're evolving into something. And maybe this weekend that just passed is not gonna be the same as next weekend. Maybe next weekend people are gonna want to talk to you because they already got tired and they got such a big hangover this weekend. They're like, no, I'm not gonna drink like that again. That it's gonna evolve. So the only thing I can do and tell you confidently, Lena, is you got to keep doing it. And the other thing that I can tell you is try to find a way to relate. Now, it's kind of like on 8 Mile when Eminem basically said every diss that the guy was going to say to him. You're going to do it, call it up front. You're going to open up the conversation before you even say about, oh, well, how many properties, how many things. You know, how are you dealing with this corona? How are you dealing with being stuck at home? You know, and then go into your thing. Why? Because there are some people that are frustrated. There's some people who are going to take out of you their frustration because they can't leave their house. That's going to happen.
That's true.
Don't take it personal. Just do what you can. And let me tell you what my biggest tip on that is. Actually, do what you can to say, hey, you know what? I am really sorry. I'm really sorry to interrupt you. I understand how frustrating this is. I myself, I'm frustrated here at home of dealing with like with certain things here at home that my only outlet is to get back to work and call people and do this, you know. What I just told you sounds crazy, and I know you might not want to hear it, but it generated pity from the person that I spoke to, that they actually felt started speaking to me nicer because they felt pity towards me, because I'm like, this is my outlet. I gotta call you to feel better about, you know, my day. So understand that everything that you do, as long as you do it politely, and don't be afraid to be honest. Like I just told that person something real about, I'm like, look, honestly, I understand you completely. I understand how frustrating it is to be at home stuck all day. So this is my outlet. I get to speak to a bunch of people today and you know, see how they're doing. And it made me feel better. And the person actually stayed on the phone with me. We didn't talk about real estate. We talked a little bit about the coronavirus. I said, look, you know what? When all this gets better, maybe I'll follow up with you. And she was like, yeah, that's fine. When everything gets better, I'm pretty sure that I'll be looking at whatever. And I'm like, oh, just so I have my notes here. What are we looking for? How many bedrooms? How many bathrooms? And I went back into it. And she answered my question. I let her go. But understand that I get this. And I understand that. Look, actually, let me take a step back before I say what I understand. I'm not the best telemarketer. I'm not even the best at speaking. If you hear me speak, I stutter. I say a lot. I'm not that good at it. The only difference between me and most people, the reason I'm good at this, or I might be lucky on the phone, is because I am so confident in my information that when I stay with them on the phone, they believe everything that I tell them is the truth. And even when they don't believe what I'm saying is the truth, they're like, that's a valid argument, because I'm confident about my information. Everything I've given to you today is the same tools that I use. Every rebuttal that I've gotten back to people is because I've used it, and I've heard the negative things about it. I've heard them rebuttal me back, and I've heard them, like try to contradict what I'm saying. I've heard other people, other lenders, and other real estate contradict what I'm saying, and I'm like, look, this is what it is, and then I step back. Once I say something I know is true to my clients or to anybody else, I let them talk. I don't come back 10 times to keep arguing with them because my time is too valuable for that. I'd rather say, look, this is what it is. I understand. Why don't we do this? I'm going to follow up with you in a couple of weeks and we'll see how things are going and move on to the next person. So don't take it personal. Call in the weekends. I call less in the weekends. I'm not going to tell you I hound the phones on the weekends, but I do call on the weekends. And typically for me, compared to you guys, on the weekends, as I'm telling you, my realtors to call, you guys are typically texting me, hey, call this client now, call that client now. And that's typically what I'm doing usually in the weekends. But when I'm cold calling in the weekends, I might do maybe an hour or two at most. I don't go that heavy on it. If I'm going to give you a strategy, if I'm going to give you the best tool and you have a CRM, sort out everybody who you didn't call during the week or didn't answer during the week and only call those. So I would work backwards and say, look, these people that couldn't speak, only call those. Like, I know that it makes sense. It doesn't make sense for me to tell you this because you're like, oh, I'm going to call whoever's a lead. No. Sort out from last Monday, the leads that came in from last Monday or older, and see who hasn't answered and call them in the weekend first. Because they didn't answer during the week. Maybe they're going to answer during the weekend. Maybe that's your only shot. You know? Any other comments?
Okay. Thank you, Willie.
You're welcome. Guys, any questions you guys have or any issues or anything negative you're hearing, understand that we're all going to learn from it. So, and again, I'm learning from this. I'm evolving so much during this every week process of hearing you guys give me feedback and me calling that I could tell you this is changing. And I don't want you guys to be scared. I want you guys to be excited. My best message to you is the fact that you're all here on this phone call at this time and spending an hour with me. It's not about me. It's about you guys actually trying to do something better. And right now we're in a market of survival of the fittest. The negative person is going to get out the game, going to leave less realtors in the game for you guys to be able to get the same amount of buyers. Understand that. As I went to the conversation about the economy last week and everything the economists were talking about and breaking down, even if the amount of people go down that can buy, the only people that get capitalize on that small amount of people that are being positive, putting positive content out. You're going to attract people to get back to you based on your positive content on social media, on your positive conversations, because this is the way it works. This is how the perception works. If I'm right, and let's go 50-50. I'm right or I'm wrong. It doesn't matter. If I'm right and the market gets back to normal by July or August, every client that I spoke to and told this to is going to be like, yo, you were right. I'm going to work with you. Now, let's say I'm wrong. If I'm wrong and the market doesn't get back, it didn't get back for anybody. I didn't lose anything. You know what I'm saying? So the only possibility I have to make money in July and August is to keep being positive and telling people, look, I understand the market is not good right now. I understand you're scared right now, but the market is going to come back. When it comes back, you need to be ready. So apply now, be ready, organize your documents. So when you see the perfect property, that's the price that you like, we'll put an offer. That's what I'm doing. Because like I said, if I'm right, we'll be back in business by the end of the summer. Maybe not 100%, but we'll be making deals. Now,
really, someone wrote in here, in the state of New York, cold calls are banned until September 7th due to the state of emergency. What is the situation in Florida? Do you know? Now, I do want to hit up on this subject, right? Because most of the people who were calling, at least I know Lina, Guille, are people in our own database that we've spoken to in the past. So I don't really consider it more or less a cold call. You know what I mean? Because it's people who you've spoken to before, you've touched before.
Well, let me rephrase that. So, okay. It is a cold call because we've never spoken to a lot of the people before. I understand who they're talking to. I understand their market. But understand that, number one, we don't have an issue with that yet in Florida. They probably will do it because I'm getting so many phone calls that I assume that the cold calls are. But the difference is most of the leads that we're calling, I don't know about most of you guys, either we're paying for on Zillow or we're paying for on different sources where they're actually clicking authorization for you to call them. Every lead that I'm calling has clicked on authorization to receive a call, which means that they're participating. And the craziness right now is that people are stuck home so much that these leads from Zillow, from MySpace, are coming in abundance. People are actually looking at houses.
Yeah, and I hear that they're like from everywhere. Like since they're bored, they're just clicking on shit.
Yeah.
Online, and now you got their phone number, and now you have them in your database.
Yeah. So I guess we could take time talking about that. Last 2 years, every real estate company, every real estate guru has been trying to explain to all their realtors, this is about data. They're like, what do you mean data? Understand that the biggest companies like Zillow and all these things, they're capitalizing on the fact that they have data about everybody, when they want to buy, what they want to buy, what they're looking for. And the more of those big companies keep gathering the data, the more expensive it's going to become for you. But right now, if you get it cheap and own that data, you could farm it the right way with the proper CRM and do it for pennies on the dollar compared to what it's going to be eventually. So right now, look, I'm going to be honest with you guys on this. A lot of people in the business are not agreeing with me on doubling down on my leads, on my lead generation. Most people are not agreeing with me. And maybe I am wrong about putting more money on my leads. Maybe I am. But the truth is that I know that data is important because once we get back to normal, I'm going to get clients at a cheaper cost right now that I'm going to get them later. So I have the funds. Let me do it. Let me get more leads now, more leads to follow through, more work for my agents, more work for my team. So when things get back, I'm going to keep following those people. I'm going to have more clients. Understand that. Understand that gathering the data is important, but it's only important if you use the proper CRM, if you know how to farm it, you have the right drip campaigns and the right test campaigns. But gathering data right now of more clients is your opportunity to succeed through this. Most of you, let's assume you've been in the business a year or two, and you are scheduled to make one deal a month. Like before this happened, you were going to make one deal a month only. This is your only chance to capitalize and beat other people who have been in the business for 10, 20 years that had guaranteed business. Because a lot of them don't know how to look for business anymore. They're on a referral thing where they're not looking for business anymore. It's just coming to them. I myself, I have business that comes to me without me having to look for it, and I'm still looking for business, which is why I'm capitalizing and not letting somebody pass me. Because right now you guys look, I'm telling you right now, you know how many people on Zillow, on Realtor.com, on all these companies that I know decided to stop paying for it? You know how many people I know that called different lead generation companies, say, hey, I just want to stop it for a month or two. And the lead company said, I'm going to give you a discount, or I'm going to give you a break. I myself called one of the things and I said, you know what? Can I cancel? Because it wasn't giving me too much. I have a lot of them. And this one, I was like, look, it's not getting too much results. How about I give it a break for now? They said, you know what? I'm going to give you 2 months for free. Who's going to turn down free leads? You know? Number one, if you don't ask, you don't get. So call your lead vendors and try to see if they give you more leads for the same amount of money, or if they give you a discount on their leads. Number two, try not to get less leads. Try to take advantage of, you have more time to call at least 3 or 4 or 5 times. Going back to the lead calling, and I've heard this before, and I know it makes sense when I'm telling you this, but people have actually asked me this. I already called all my leads in the morning. What do I do now? You call them again. You're supposed to call your leads at least 22 times before they become a client. 22 times. Some people say 12. I'm saying worst case scenario, 22 times before a lead becomes a client. Get it out. Call them, text them, email them. If they didn't answer, do it again. If they didn't answer today, do it tomorrow again. You have enough time right now to actually do this. Normally you don't. Normally I'm telling you, I don't have time to do this. I'm telling you that. You could ask anybody that knows me from this chat. Henry sits right behind me. He'll tell you, he'll look at me and he's like, I don't even know, like, I'm gonna have, I do more than most people, and I still fit more people, more things on my plate, and I still call leads, and I still do all of that during regular time. And right now that I have more time to do it, honestly, mentally, it took me a little while to adjust to it, for me to mentally be able to get up and motivated to do it. But now that I'm doing it, now it becomes a routine. Now I'm calling. Now I get my dialer run while I'm doing this. I'm talking to more people, and I'm learning from them. Look, even if I got somebody on the phone and I didn't do a sale, I don't know about you guys. I grew up in Miami, and I like to speak to people about like who they are. Like when I'm talking to them, I'm like, oh, she says she's a nurse. So I'm like, what hospital? You know? Oh, and then I'm like, I know so-and-so. And they're like, oh, I know them too. That's got to be so much business. Oh, I'm a firefighter. I'm like, I know a firefighter too. So just because I do certain things like that, I get referrals eventually. Understand that it's like a chess move. Every conversation is a chess move for now or for later. So every opportunity you get to contact somebody is an opportunity for you to get a deal now or later. So let's say right now we're focusing, as I told you before, this is an investment account where we're focusing on the later. How do you get to make an impact with somebody on the phone? Not a sale. Like you heard Guillermo, he was on the phone when the mic, look, I'm not trying to sell you nothing. You know, without having to tell him you're not trying to sell anything. How do you make a connection? Put yourself in that position. Think about you. If I'm calling you and you're like, I don't want to buy nothing. You yourself don't want to take a telemarketing call. But, you know, like if you start thinking about what makes you laugh and the funny things that happen, the things you look at on Instagram, memes, and there's a lot of common things that are being spoken. So when you bring this into a conversation on the phone, people actually feel relieved to be able to talk to about the funny things about the supermarket. Or like I went to BJ's the other day and there was a line around the corner. And I was like, look, man, I'm not going to BJ's, but I went to Walmart and they let me in with no lines. I'm like, okay, cool. I spoke to people about that and I created a connection with people. And if I found out where they worked, I created another connection, which helped me out. Emma, you want to say something, my brother?
Oh, you see me come off mute?
Of course, you're ready. You know me, I like to pull triggers.
I actually did want to hear from him because I know he's somebody that is also calling consistently, even before this started, and has continued during this.
You know, this is what I come from, a background where you know, leads is the goal. You know, back in the days, marketing was hard. in the sense of, there was no money being thrown around for events. There was no real estate companies welcoming, lenders to come in and speak. So you had to pay for leads, and leads were really, really expensive back in the day. Nowadays, because of technology, thank God, leads have gone down in cost compared to 10 years ago. Back then to get a lead was like, whoa, treat it like, like gold. We just have a larger volume. We got to get rid of the ones that have a not working number, a bad number that goes nowhere, has a bad beep or whatever. But if you do it every day, and I do it every day, it's not every day I'm going to make 100 calls. Some days I do 30, some days I do 50, some days I do 10, but be systematic about it. You don't just want to pick up and just dial whatever number's there. Picture in your mind what you want to get out of it. And I already made a plan for myself as to what's going to happen for the next 3 months for me. If I get lucky, let's close whatever we can close. But I want to I'm building up, and I have an Excel spreadsheet. The purpose of my calls is to have 100 people. I call them friends. 100 people on that spreadsheet. When these 3 months are over, that told me, yes, I'm looking to buy a home. It's my first time buying. I have some savings. I have okay credit. I have okay income. So they're kind of like virtually pre-qualified. You already had that conversation where you want to work with them. I want to have 100 people in that list. And if the numbers are right, usually out of 100 that you speak to, that you have a solid conversation with, that want to do business with you, you should be able to close 30% of that. Man, that's the whole year worth of business. 30 loans, that's a whole year worth of business. So right now my list is at about 20 people. 20 people in the last month that I've spoken to. Yes, I'm going to send you the documents. Thank you so much for helping me. They haven't been working with me. Why? Because they're afraid. When they hang up on me, they talk to 20 other people that bring the negativity. But you know what? They are willing to listen to me when I call them again. They're willing to respond to me when I text them. They're not moving forward. They're not moving forward yet. But guess what? As soon as they hear one positive news, they got the vaccine, the is going back down. Now people are going back to work. Guess what? I already spoke to them 2, 3, 4 times. I want to have 100 people. So when things get back to normal, and it's not going to happen from one day to the next, periodically, I'm going to have that one client that calls me, hey, Henry, I'm ready. People are coming back to work. They see it around them. In their environment, they're going back to normal. Boom, I start working on that one. And then little by little, because if this mimics anything that happened back in 2008, was that when things were bad, everybody knew. But as things began to get good, no one knew. It happened slowly through a year or two, slowly. But little groups of people, they're all going back to work. They're all receiving their income. Everybody's doing okay. Their friends started buying a home. In that group, the one that you spoke to is now willing to buy. So gradually, that 100 people that I spoke to, between the time where things start going back to normal to the end of the year, where things are usually going to be back to normal and people are going back shopping for Christmas and Thanksgiving and being thankful that we survived, if you had that pipeline, they're going to remember you. So I call them once. I tell them, listen, I'm going to call you again next week, but let me know if you have any questions. And I send them an email or a text message with what's going on in the industry with good news. The rates are low, or the rates are good, or what does it mean when the Fed put the rate down to 0? Just to be in contact with. I'd rather have conversations with those people than friends that I'm speaking to that are sending me negative stuff on WhatsApp.
Just to change a little bit here about the topic, you're turning leads into prospects. So your idea is to get all these whatever leads, like let's say you got 1,000 leads, turn into 100 prospects. And then that's your goal, to get 100 prospects that could eventually turn into clients. See, and I want to clarify this because I don't want to already contradict you. You're 100% right about your numbers, but it's every 100 leads, 10% turn into a prospect. And out of those 10% turn...
out of the 10...
No. You're right about the prospects. I'm saying once you get... That's what I'm saying. I'm trying to explain. Out of 100 leads, only 10 turn into a real prospect, 10%. But when you have 100 prospects that you already kind of vetted, That's why your turnaround is so big, is at 30% and even more, because you already kind of spoken to them one time. You already know that they're a viable candidate. So it's kind of like if you knew that you're making 100 phone calls of 100 people that can really buy a house, it's just your job to convert them. That's why his conversion rate is so high on that. But it's what I've been saying. Get as many as people as you can ready to buy, and then by the time this gets back, you'll be the first one in line to convert them, and be the one giving the positive message about getting back on track faster. Because like that, they're going to believe when the market gets back, like, look, this person was right. Okay. Thanks, Henry. That was awesome, and I love hearing it from you, because Henry's one of the people that I work with that calls the leads, that's seeing the real conversations right now. And he's one of the people that actually I've learned more about the callbacks, because before I was more like the one phone call, like sale, and then if it was good, then we did the thing. But he's one of the person that I saw him very comfortably tell somebody, look, let's do this, and I'll just call you back next week. Very quickly, get off the phone call, move on to the next one, and then set up a callback. And I've heard him call back the people next week, and the people don't remember, hey, remember I spoke to you, and they engage in a good conversation. Even if last week's conversation with this client was rough, the next conversation wasn't that rough. The person already feel like they knew you, and it was a lot easier to pitch them on what you were trying to do. Guys, we got a few minutes here. Any questions? For me, Henry, let me know what you need. Let me know what you guys are seeing.
Hi, William.
Hey.
Hey, I have a question for you. 99% of my clients are international. How do I relate to them? Because it's hard for them, since most of them are from South America. I really don't know how to approach them right now.
So right now it's hard because the non-QM business is basically, the foreign nationals is basically shut down.
Yeah, man.
I found one lender that they are doing like 50%, and they're out of California. They're still doing it. And but I think they're doing it on the same basis that we're talking about getting just everybody to apply with them, because they know that they're not going to buy right now, and figuring out that by the time things get back to normal, they actually start buying, that they're going to have them as a lead, you know? Mm-hmm. But this is what I could tell you that's a fact. I spoke to my private lender, the one that lends me money for my own flips, and he's an actual like direct lender. He has the hedge funds, he has everything to be able to lend. And he told me this. He's like, look, it's not going to be the same as before. Those 80%, those 70%, that's not what you're going to see. You will see 50% loan to value loans and 65% loan to value loans come back in about 2 or 3 months, once we see the reaction to the market after we start getting back to normal. So the conversation that I've had with a couple of people that I've dealt with that are foreign nationals or investors, and the reason I mention this is because I have turned those foreign nationals more into private investor like type loans, into actual loans I'm sorry, let me put you on mute for a minute, because I hear like everything in the background. Give me a second. So I've turned most of these foreign nationals into hard money loans. I'm like, look, just buy under a corporation. Like, that is not a foreign national anymore. It's just a hard money loan. It's based on the property. Now, when I've done that, what I've gone back and done is the conversation about the same thing my lender told me. My hard money lender said, look, we're waiting to lend right now. We're eager to lend. Everybody's so scared. They're all waiting to see is what we can predict based on what we see the reaction of the market after we get back on track. So let's say by July or June, they'll be able to start lending again, but they're going to do it at 50 or 60% loan to value. So when you're having a conversation with these people, just tell them, look, right now you're going to find some good deals. In June or July, you're going to find some good deals that most people can't get regular financing for, but your financing is going to be as hard money, which you'll be able to get a good deal. Like, if you're interested in getting a good deal, that's a good opportunity for you. There's only one problem. You're going to need to save up more money for that, because you're going to require a larger down payment. Oh, okay. You know, I'm going to take 2 months or 3 months to save up or whatever. Maybe I'll buy a smaller property. Okay, perfect. Then this is what we're going to do. Let me get you with the lender. Let me get you lined up. But keep in mind, this is not for 2 or 3 months. Set that conversation up so they could get in line to get approved, get in line to be able to buy. So as soon as they open the lending for hard money, they'll be the first ones in there. Okay? And I can tell you from experience, first come, first serve on those things. Because if they open up, they say, look, we have $1 million to lend this week, and you weren't ready, you're not going to get that money. Okay? Any other questions?
William, ¿cómo estás?
Hey, Carla, how are you?
Escucha esto. No ha parado de sonar. Y nada, quería comentar que definitivamente
You went on mute.
súper disponibles en su casa. ¿Me escuchas?
Yeah, hear you. Te escucho.
Y todos los clientes que te envié de Realtor.com que están allí, pues obviamente tengo más de 30 mensajes mientras estaba escuchándote. Es una locura, le escribí a tu hermano, ¿qué es esto? Entonces todos están respondiendo y de hecho termina porque necesito que hables con cliente ya, no mentira. Pero sí, hay uno que me dijo, mira, yo sí estoy lista para comprar ya. Entonces, y muchos otros y el mensaje prácticamente que les estoy dando, que no sé si es el más correcto, pero quería compartirlo para escuchar sus opiniones. Luego que me preguntan que quién es, ¿no? Entonces yo le coloco buen día, al nombre del cliente, mi nombre es Carla, soy realtor y sé que estuvo buscando propiedades para la compra y aunque entiendo que no estamos en el momento ideal, me gustaría poder ayudarte a estar preparado para cuando se presenten las buenas oportunidades. Entonces, pues obviamente la respuesta ha sido súper positiva, ¿no?
Sí, eso es correcto. Eso exactamente te dije, estás adelantándote a lo que te van a decir negativo para que ellos sepan que tú entiendes lo que está pasando. Es perfecto. Y segundo, sí. Mira, yo sí quería hablar de eso. Aprovechemos que tenemos ventaja de que podemos mandar texto, porque por lo menos tú viste, yo sé que Guilla ha visto, todo el mundo ha visto que cuando yo hago el text campaign, todo el mundo se vuelve loco el teléfono, la gente responde y te da una margen donde puedes de pronto responderle a 3, 4 personas a la vez en vez de tener que hablar con una persona en un teléfono 10, 15 minutos. Y ha funcionado bastante. En esta época, con la gente que has hablado y texteado, yo no veo mucha diferencia. En llamadas sí veo que la gente sea negativa o lo que sea, pero en texto no veo que haya mucha gente negativa. Como lo era antes, que era como más de pronto rudas o no respondían.
Sí, correcto. Por mensaje responden mucho más.
Okay. All right. Anybody else? Thank you, Carla. That was awesome.
Hey, Louis. How you doing?
Yeah. What's up, brother?
I didn't know who was doing the presentation, man. I thought it was a new guy.
I know. You like the beard? It went away.
Complete change of a makeover. That's awesome. Touching a little bit back, maybe you touched on this. It's just that I was on a call actually, and this is, no lie. I've been talking to this past renter that really didn't rent for me, but she wanted me to talk to her husband today because they are interested. They want to see the possibility if it is going to be a possibility for them to buy it. So I'm just, obviously I'm going to put them in contact with you guys. But with what you said in regards to FHA the other day, how far along is that? Are you seeing that it is going to jump to 680 on your end? I know that other people are already doing it, but
I don't know if it's going to jump to 680. I'm pretty sure it's going to jump to about at least 640. I'm still at 620, and they made a commitment to us that they're going to be the last ones to raise that. So they're like, look, we're going to hold out as long as possible to not have to raise the limit from 680 to 640. And they did it to me based on the theory. And I agree with the theory 100%, that if we're the last ones taking these applications at 620, with the skilled loan officers that we have, where we tend to help people increase their credit score. So if you tell me right now, look, man, I have a client right now that has a 620 credit score, I'm going to approve him right now. If he buys now, I'm going to give him his loan right now. But if things change in 30 days where we go up to 640, in 30 days, regardless, I'm going to help him raise his score. So he's going to keep, his credit's going to keep going up with the requirements. So I'm going to help him get into a house no matter what, which is their belief. They're saying, look, if we stay longer at 620 than every other lender, you're going to get more prospects in to apply. And if a few of them buy now, we're going to do the loan for them. But most of them are not. They're going to take 3-4 months to find the house they want to buy. And by that time, even the requirement goes up, I'm sure you as a professional, William, you're going to get their score up.
Got it.
Anybody else?
Just one more question. Do you think the dropping of the prices is still around the time that you had mentioned?
Yeah, so that's a fact. Prices will drop temporarily because of the slowdown we are going to see in the market right now. Understanding that there is like a 2-3 month delay. So people are thinking, oh, properties are not selling or are not happening now. Or I mean, prices are dropping out. They're not dropping now. There's no way that you can look at a house that sold yesterday and say, hey, that's it. That affected the whole market. Now it's going to affect 2-3 months from now. So what I was saying is, if you do see a dip in the value of the market, it's going to happen in about 2 months. Now, if we're going to be real, let's be clear about this. It's also going to be based on how fast people get to be able to work. Let's just say an example. I know they said May 1st. Let's go back to June 1st. But let's say the property values are scheduled to go down in July. And let's say the properties are scheduled to go down based on estimates down to July 1st, right? But let's say we do get back to work June 1st. That's going to counteract because single family homes are still in such high demand that's going to bring the prices back up. So if it does drop, it's going to drop for a very short period of time, maybe 2-3 months. And the worst case scenario, if it drops, is because of September and August. August and September are typically dead months that if this takes that long to recuperate, and those months become the months we get back into business, then it might take a little bit longer to recuperate. But the fact is that it's going to drop for a short period of time. It's going to come right back up. The value of the prices is based on demand. Single family houses are in high demand even now.
Got it. Awesome.
All right, guys. Any questions? I'm here to help. Any concerns you guys have, just reach out to me or anybody in my team, Henry, everybody here. We're here to help. More so right now is just to give information, help you guys get ready and be the last one standing. So be the first one to make money once this gets back, okay? Thank you, guys.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Winnie.
Thank you, Willie.
Thank you, buddy.